So this is uncorrected vision straight out of the DJI MAVIC Pro. This was recorded in UHD 30p. This is on, the color setting is on none, and we're on auto exposure, auto white balance. I think it was running from memory about ISO 100. And the shutter was about 1/3200th of a second to get the exposure correct on there. You will notice that the horizon level is off. This is operator error. We didn't realize that you could actually calibrate that up before you started flying, but I mean that's easily fixed in post. As you can see, the vision looks pretty good, even completely uncorrected. The colors do tend to look a little bit sort of funky. You can see in the dark areas of the image, particularly where it sort of looks black or dark grays and things like that. It does seem to have a bit of a magenta tinge to it. Again, this is easily corrected. When you take it into the edit, you can fix that pretty well. One thing I did really notice, as you can see here, it's incredibly stable. This is just sitting there locked off, and you can see it. There's no movement at all. There's no stabilization that's been added to any of this footage that you're seeing. This is exactly how it came out of the camera. But it's incredibly stable, as you can see here, even doing moves. I was very impressed by just how well the gimbal works. It does tend to get a little bit funky if you're trying to move the gimbal really quickly when it's moving at sort of full pace. But when you're doing nice controlled moves here at a reasonable speed, you can see it remains incredibly stable. What I did notice too, though, is you will get some compression artifacts. I mean, obviously there's a lot of detail in this image, and you're looking at 60 megabits per second codec in UHD or 4K, so it's pretty heavily compressed. So you will get some compression artifacts that are noticeable in areas where, in shots like this where you're seeing, dark areas and trees and flickering water and things along those lines. Now, coming up here on this shot here, what you will see is when it gets near the fisherman in the water up there, it was doing something a little bit strange. I don't know whether this was just flicker coming through from the propellers from the sun, but you'll watch about now in the bottom sort of right-hand part of the screen, you'll see some sort of bar flickering there. Now, I'm not sure whether that is some type of sort of compression error with the camera, or whether that's just doing something strange with as a result of the sun coming through the propeller blades and then flickering down onto the camera. But that's something that I'll have to investigate further. Here's the camera just hovering. This is my friend Jeff just operating here. So you can see it's just sitting right in front of him, nice and stable. Here we go, here where we're just changing the white balance over, really funky. We tried to put it onto sunny conditions, and you can see it went really blue, so quite strange actually. Again, there we've just adjusted it back to auto, and it's a much more pleasing result. I did find with some of the preset values that they had on there, you got some sort of quite funky colors. Now this is in the follow me mode, very easy to set up. You just literally frame up your subject in the follow me mode, and there's a box, and you press it and it'll make a little noise and lock on, and then it'll just you can just set the actual height of the drone as to however you want to actually have it on there. Didn't get any chance to test it out with a whole bunch of people. I'm not sure how it would work if there was multiple subjects in shot. That would be very interesting to see. Excuse my awkward running style here. I'm trying not to trip over on all these rocks. So you can see even at speed, it does a really good job at following you and sort of centering up the image, keeping a nice consistent shot and distance even when you do a hard turn. It takes a little bit of time to catch up. Again, we'll just do this again. There's a little bump there when it sort of takes off. That's the gimbal sort of stabilizing, but that doesn't really happen too much. So here again, I am running around. I'm just trying to get the gimbal to follow me in the follow me mode to see how well it does. We're going to go through this little gap here and see how well it does in terms of avoiding this tree. As you can see, it's done a good job and it's gone up over the top of the tree, so it won't hit that, and it's still following me all the way back. As I go back over here to where the camera is being, well, the drone is being operated from. So that system seems to work really well, that follow me mode. Now there's another option here where you can slide to the right. You'll see Jeff doing it here in this follow me mode, and it'll just track around your subject. Now you can adjust the speed here. We're going pretty quickly here just for the sake of the test, and you can see you know, when it does try and take extreme angles, that gimbal is fighting, and you will get the occasional bump, and you'll see there where we've stopped it, you know, and the gimbal's trying to stabilize up. So it's just something to be aware of when you are moving the Mavic Pro at any type of speed, you know, and you're trying to turn the gimbal. It will, in places, you'll see you get some shuddering there. So that's just something to be aware of. But, you know, in general, it works pretty well. This is a pretty extreme example. You're probably not going to go around something that fast. As you can see here, it's coming all the way around. You can actually see the propellers coming into shot, and there the speed is getting a little bit out of control, and it's taking off. Here we're just doing a collision avoidance test, so we've just got it set on the front thing, so we're just going to try and move it straight into this little plant tree here. And when it gets to a certain distance, you'll see it'll go bang, and you'll get a little vibration through the stick, and it won't allow you to go any further forward. We also did try and test it here, nice and low to the water, creeping across. Of course, you know, I think this camera would really benefit from having, you know, some ND, if you could put some little ND filters on the lens, which I believe there will be some people who are making them, so they will be coming, because you really want to try and get that shutter speed down, because even here we're at, you know, only 100 ISO, and still having to use an awful lot of shutter on a bright sunny day to maintain exposure. And you'll see here what I was talking about the compression. You know, at 60 megabits per second, there's a lot of information here in this shot, and you know, it does struggle a little bit, but it's not too bad. Again, here, this is a sort of shot where you'd probably prefer to be using a lot less shutter if you could, because of the moving water. But once it gets over, you know, a conditions like this where you don't have the sort of running water and it's nice and still, really nice. Again, you can see incredibly stable. Even as we lift the gimbal up here and go considerably higher up into the sky, it still maintains, you know, really nice smooth looking motion. You know, I was really impressed overall by just how well this little drone performed. I mean, it wasn't a windy day by any stretch of the imagination. It was quite good conditions for flying a drone, but it's really nice to see just how stable it is. Again, here's just one more shot, going from high and then bringing it down low. In terms of the vision, you know, you have to be aware of the focus in terms of getting it, tapping it and making sure you've got it on the right area. Otherwise, you can get some disastrous results. And you know, I don't know whether it's not soft by any stretch of the imagination, but it does seem to, from my experience, benefit a lot from just adding a little bit of sharpening in the post processing of your footage, and then you can get a really nice result. Again, you know, this is untouched, and you can see what's happening with the colors here. They do need a little bit of adjusting, I think. I was pretty happy with the results though that I got, having it in the color mode where it was none. I don't know whether I'd really probably try and use this drone with a log type sort of setting. I just think at 4K or UHD, there's just far too much compression when it's at 60 megabits per second.